So my reality, my concerns, my worries, and that all, that really changed rather drastically within a very few days. The 9th of March, I successfully defended my PhD thesis in mathematics. At that point, everything in my life turned around that presentation, and that was all I was concerned about. At that moment, coronavirus wasn't even an issue here in Argentina at all. There were very few cases, in Buenos Aires only, zero restrictions whatsoever, and in general, nobody seemed to think about it. Um, 2 days later, the government interrupted all flights from critical countries in which the virus had already spread. 2 more days, and all of a sudden, my university closed. No more lectures, no research. There weren't even coronavirus cases in my city, Rosario. However, I was relieved when I got that news, since I have asthma and I was worried about the global development of the virus. I usually give lectures to a big amount of students in very small enclosed spaces, and I use public transport. That all was just, I was really worried about that whole development. So that was a point when in my family we took a particular decision. We traveled by car to a cabin of ours in the woods of Patagonia. It's 1,600 kilometers away from Rosario. It might seem like a drastic decision, but we followed the idea that it is better to overestimate the danger than to downplay it. And here I am now, chopping wood and collecting water and doing that kind of stuff in the middle of nowhere. So yes, my reality went from the complexity of a PhD thesis to the basic needs of survival. We are fine here, so there we have no problems at all. And most importantly, I would say that the risk of getting the virus here is very, very small now. Since 2 weeks now, I barely had any kind of contact with the world. A week ago, the government declared Argentina a total quarantine zone, so we were a bit of ahead of that. Being surrounded by a forest, I do not feel the sensation of being held captive. That's something I hear a lot, that it is a common problem now, and nor am I alone. I even have a small puppy with me, so this isn't an issue either. It's, in general, there's a good mood here. However, many things, I would say, naturally change and are more difficult now. Basically, basic things like, for instance, getting food here in the woods. We are, however, 20 kilometers away from Bariloche. That's an important city here in the region, and we help each other out with the closest neighbors when it comes to buying stuff, food, and so on. In general, I observe that in such difficult times, many positive qualities emerged, just like helping each other in when it comes to buying, just like this example I gave now. And I see that we are more grateful for what you have. Even my students show that to be really thankful after my digital lectures. It is my job and I love to do it. So there's nothing special about it. But they really show to appreciate the effort I put into those lectures, which I understand is a reaction to the whole new reality. And finally, what I hope for the future is something that I'm observing is happening right now. And it's that the society, I don't know how to say it, but I see that they respect science far more than even some weeks ago. I see that, for instance, how people appreciate all those who work in the health system. And even I myself was approached by different friends, asked about different mathematical aspects of what is known as the flattening the curve, what it means. Many very interesting questions in those conversations, and I see as well that governments of many countries are now taking decisions after listening to virologists, biologists, and any kind of scientists. So that's something I hope that we learn from this crisis, to listen to scientists and what they are saying when it comes to fundamental policy making.